Welcome to Connecting Africa from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Eleni Jarkas. Now, each month we meet the people and the projects driving trade and bringing the continent together. A perfect example of this can be seen right here at this massive oil refinery, a multi-billion-dollar giga project and brainchild of businessman, industrialist, and Africa's wealthiest man, Aliko Dangote.
It has been one of the largest infrastructure projects ever undertaken on the African continent. The aim? To build one of the world's biggest oil refineries capable of processing 650,000 barrels of oil a day. It all began back in 2016 with dredging, pumping vast amounts of sand into marshland.
We decided to do a survey and said that in the next 50 years, how much with global warming ocean levels can rise. And we needed the site to be higher than that. So we had to elevate the site between 1.5 to 1.75 meters, and that is 33 square kilometers of land. So you can imagine the amount of time we spent on dredging. That's when you came in and saw all the sand coming in.
Nigeria exports more oil than any other African country. It's also in the middle of a fuel crisis. Nigeria had a problem on its hands. It lacked refining resources, the process of turning oil into petrol, diesel, and jet fuel. It was forced to export its oil to Europe, get it refined, and re-imported back to the African continent.
You have an oil producer that is importing refined products.
Unfortunately.
It's insane to think that.
It is insane. Nigeria produces between 2.2 and 2.5 million barrels of crude per day, yet it's not able to process more than about 100,000 barrels per day.
During the height of construction, it was among Africa's largest building sites. Huge structures were brought in by sea and by land. Special roads were constructed to get massive pieces of equipment to the site.
At the peak construction period, we had 70,000 people working in the site. We bought 320 cranes. We invested in about 1,200 civil construction equipment, 1,050 trucks, and then we had to invest in 120 transit mixers, 80 concrete pumps, ready-mix concrete batching plants, and the world's largest stone quarry to supply aggregate to this. We had to build in a lot of infrastructure.
8 years later, and today a vast network of towering structures and miles of steel pipes transports oil through various stages of production.
This is the world's largest single-train petroleum refinery, along with an integrated petrochemical complex. Now with this refinery, the whole scenario will change. Instead of being an importer of petroleum products, 50% of the production will be exported because 50% will meet the local demand.
This vast industrial complex was the vision of one man, Aliko Dangote.
Welcome to the eighth wonder land of the world. You know, we are and where we have delivered something that has never ever been done on the continent. We're now sitting on a land which is almost more than 4,000 football fields.
That's a really big complex, yeah?
4,000, yes, it's huge. Nobody has ever done this in Africa, and we've done it.
Tell me the significance of this refinery.
The significance of this refinery is that we will become self-sufficient in Nigeria, and a lot of other, especially West and Central African countries, will be also self-sufficient in products. So the crude, almost about 21 ships, will not now leave the continent, either from Nigeria, Angola, or we will be able to take those crudes and be able to refine and distribute the products.
Aviation jet fuel would be for the European market, apart from the sub-Saharan African market. Diesel mostly will be distributed within sub-Saharan Africa, and gasoline can go to US and also the South American market.
How do you feel standing here?
I feel very proud as an African that we've been able to prove and demonstrate that it can be done, and we've done it.
When we come back, we sit down for an exclusive and in-depth interview with Aliko Dangote, the mastermind behind this massive giga project. Welcome back to Connecting Africa, where this month we are visiting one of the world's largest oil refineries and meeting the man behind this multi-billion-dollar giga project, Aliko Dangote. Aliko Dangote, welcome to Connecting Africa.
Thank you, Eleni.
You decided to take on this very mega project, and I think that the whole world watching very closely on this journey of yours. You took on big risks. I think that no one else in Africa has done this. No other man in the world has chosen to do this.
People don't really even understand what we undertook to build the refinery. We didn't know what we were getting into. So if we knew,
would you still do it?
We would have run away. We wouldn't
Really?
have tried it. No, we wouldn't have tried it. I can tell you, it was very, very, very tough.
I remember at the time you were talking about the budget, or the, in terms of what you thought the investment was going to require,
Yes.
$14 billion.
Yes.
How much did you spend at the end of it?
We spent about $19 billion.
650,000 barrels is what your refining capacity is
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
How is it going to change
Well,
the
it's
game?
going to change the game in terms of, improvements all over the place. If we take in all the crude from Nigeria, it means that we will take about 21 million barrels per month. And that will also help in terms of reducing the CO2 emissions. Rather than ships coming all the way from Europe bringing products, or the ships going out of Nigeria, 21 ships going out of Nigeria every month. And then you have the products coming into Nigeria. So in totality, when you calculate, you're talking about 480 ships of 1 million barrels. That actually will save the environment almost 2 million, 1.5 to 2 million tons of CO2 emissions.
Are you making money yet?
We'll start making money soon.
How long is that going to take?
It's not about only, yes, it's about making money, but also it gives us a great satisfaction
Yeah.
that yes, we're making Africa great, we're making Africa proud.
Do local oil companies, oil producers, want to sell crude to you?
We know there are challenges here and there. That's the truth. I have to be very, very, open to you. But, NNPC, they've been very, very helpful. They do their own bit. But some of the IOCs, they are struggling to give us crude because everybody is used to exporting and nobody wants to stop exporting. Why, Eleni, you think Africa is not growing as it should? Because we export raw materials and import finished goods. Doesn't matter what it is, even if it's gold or whatever, a raw material is always at a ridiculously priced amount compared to a finished goods.
Are you worried about how you're going to wean people off that system, this legacy system that has been holding, as you say, Africa back?
I've been fighting battles all my life, so I don't get scared of anything.
I've heard you talk a lot about the African Continental Free Trade Area and whether it's viable. You're in 14 African countries.
Yes.
So you have experience doing cross-border trade, and you've got issues even getting your cement across borders in certain parts of the continent.
The AFCTA will be very, very beneficial. And if you are talking about benefit, our company will almost be one of the top 5 in terms of benefiting from the free trade agreement.
Have you seen an improvement since it went live?
I have not seen any improvement. That's the truth. We have 3 million tons of urea to export to African countries. It's too much for Nigeria's consumption. We have petroleum products to export. So we have too many things to export. We have cement also to export. What makes sense is to have the free trade agreement work. But my own thinking is that, look, for us to cross that hurdle, because the trade between us is only about 16%, which is too low. So we have to make sure that all the regional markets, they have to work. We have to remove these requirements of visas. We have to allow pre-movement of people, pre-movement of goods and services. Then the AFCTA will work. Without that, it is almost impossible. I mean, you look at it today, if I'm going to Africa, I'm going to Egypt tomorrow, but I need a visa. They're saying that, yes, okay, fine. They will give me visa on arrival if I have an American visa. I have an African passport. They are part and parcel of AFCTA. But they are saying that, no, if you have American visa, we'll give you. So they are discounting me being an African. So how do we trade if you are not allowing me into your own country?
If we're not allowing Aliko Dangote into a country, then we've got big problems across the continent.
What I would have loved to see is to see a South African coming to even get a job in Nigeria with no hassle. Because if we don't now integrate, we will never ever see what you call prosperity. So the integration is very, very important. If you remember, most countries, they used to have Ministry of Integration. I don't know what happened. Some of the countries, they have actually dropped all this, which doesn't make sense.
After the break, we visit another Dangote enterprise, a facility that could transform Africa's agriculture sector. Welcome back to Connecting Africa, coming to you from one of the continent's largest giga projects, the multi-billion-dollar Dangote oil refinery right here in Nigeria. Now, these towering structures behind me produce refined petroleum products like diesel, gasoline, and aviation fuel. But the refining process also creates another vital sector, fertilizer. And Aliko Dangote has built one of the world's largest production facilities.
Down the road from the Dangote oil refinery, thousands of tons of fertilizer are making their way through an assembly line every day to be packaged up and delivered to farmers across the continent. This $2.5 billion Dangote fertilizer plant is Africa's largest granular urea fertilizer complex.
I have seen in the last 3-4 years there has been gradual increase of fertilizer consumption in Nigeria. We have a capability to produce approximately 8,000 tons per day. But Nigeria's demand of urea is total is around 1 million tons per year. So our production is close to 2.8 million tons.
Urea is one of the most commonly used nitrogen-based fertilizers in the world. It's made from byproducts of the oil and gas refining process.
Tell me why Dangote Industries decided to go into fertilizer and why it was sort of a no-brainer to sort of, add that on to the oil refinery.
Fertilizer is a product that all African farmers, all farmers across the world need and use. Our urea, for example, is 46% nitrogen. When you look at Africa and the amount of arable land we have, agricultural land, the rains, the river networks that we also have, you can see the potential for food consumption. If you look at the core of what we stand for, it's self-sustainability, self-reliance, right, for not just our nation, but for the continent as a whole. So food security is one of the top things on our agenda. So it was a no-brainer to think, why import these products? We have the natural resources. Urea literally is made, it's a complex process, but I would say it's ammonia and carbon dioxide brought together. We have, and those are basically combined from hydrocarbons and carbon dioxide as well. Hydrocarbons we get from our natural gases. Nigeria has a vast, platform of natural gas. So why not utilize that to provide a product that we can use for self-sustainability and self-reliance?
The plant began fertilizer production in 2021. Since then, Dangote Industries estimates its fertilizer saves Nigeria $125 million in imports. A bonus not only for the nation, but for individual farmers as well.
So you're not just selling a product, you're providing a whole new industry for your farmers to be able to develop their products themselves. You want a product that is stable, that is also good in terms of the carbon emissions. So looking at the type of product we're producing as well was very important for us. It's not necessarily just give anyone urea. give them the right kind of urea that can be used to produce the right products and multiply it at a point that's exponential enough to meet the food security problem we have in Africa.
We've invested in fertilizer, and our focus has to be train the farmers, help them to get the right seeds, help them to teach them how to use the fertilizer and go for the right agricultural practices so we can transform the whole of Africa.
With the capacity to produce 3 million tons of urea a year, the company says it's supplying enough fertilizer to meet local demand and beyond.
So we are exporting to the Latin America, which is Brazil is the major consumer, Argentina, US, ECOWAS countries. We are also, some quantity goes to Europe, and some quantity also we have exported from here to India.
As demand increases and production ramps up, Dangote Industries has no intention of slowing down.
We are not stopping here. We already have decided to double the capacity. We are closing the deal on engineering. And we are not going to stop with urea. We are going for diammonium phosphate. We are going to go for ammonium nitrate. We are going to go for NPK with potash. So we are going to have a complete bouquet of fertilizer.
When we come back, keeping it in the family, we meet with two of Aliko Dangote's daughters who are making their own contributions to the group's success. Welcome back to Connecting Africa. This month, we are visiting the Dangote Oil Refinery, the brainchild of industrialist and Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote. Now, he runs a number of other successful enterprises, but perhaps his biggest success, his three daughters, who are making their own individual impact on his businesses. Great to see you both. Great to be with you.
Same here, Eleni.
I've spent a few days with your father.
Yes, that's correct.
I had the best time. And both of you are part of the business. Fatima, what does your role entail?
So really my role oversees the commercial strategy for the group. This includes for all the business units. So namely the sugar business, the salt, the cement, fertilizer, and the new baby, the oil and gas.
It's a big baby.
It is, it is.
I'm Executive Director Operations of Dangote Sugar Company. I started with strategy for like 2.5 years. Then I moved to risk for another 2 years. Then to Dangote Sugar, where I continue doing strategy for 3 years.
Did you find that it was very difficult to prove yourselves because your father is the president of Dangote Industries?
And not just because he's the president. He's somebody that is extremely hardworking.
Yeah. Was he hard on you? Was he hard on you guys?
A bit hard. I think he expects so much more from us compared to
other people. Yeah.
And when you have a father like him, that nothing but perfection is acceptable, right? Then you have to work extra hard to be able to prove yourself.
You're three young ladies taking on significant roles within the company. How do you see the future?
Well, the future is to continue to build on what our father has built over the past 40
So you're in
years.
this. You're in this.
We're in this.
For the long term.
Yes.
Yeah. You're the legacy.
Yeah. So it's to continue to build on what he has built over the past 40 years. We have seen how he's inspiring business audacity in running this African organization. I call this company Africa's Finest, where he has taken Dangote Group to be Africa's finest, to be one of the most diversified conglomerate on the continent. So he has taken this small trading African company into this huge manufacturing
company
conglomerate on the continent. And we're now going even beyond the continent. We're becoming a global organization. So it's truly inspiring to see how an African company is solving the key problems in Africa, right? Impacting lives, creating jobs.
Let's say it's 2050. How would you describe Dangote Industries in the future?
I would say it's clear we're on our way to becoming a truly global brand, because we've already seen, when you look at our cement business, we're already in 10 African countries. When you look at our fertilizer business, our oil and gas, we're already delivering as far as the US, Mexico, and Brazil. So this is to show you that we have high quality international standard products, and our products can go and be sold anywhere in the world. So really the vision is to have our footprints everywhere in the world, so to truly become a global brand.
By 2050, we will be a global brand. Yeah, this is for sure.
Is that for sure?
Yeah.
For now, Aliko Dangote is very much in charge and is still the driving force behind Dangote Industries. He recently celebrated his 67th birthday, and while he is unlikely to retire anytime soon, succession planning is on his agenda.
Maria, Halima, Fatima.
Fatima, that's right. Yes, these are
Your
my
daughters
Yes,
in the business.
beautiful daughters. Yes,
Is that the legacy? Are they
well,
going to take over Dangote Industries?
they will take some departments, but we have also other professionals that they have to. They will run the business, to the next level, but they are also contributing their own, bit. They are all in the business, so I believe that yes, we'll have the future. They are actually going to be the future. They are well trained. I'm sure they do much better than myself. And we have a very good succession planning in the business, where now yes, we have myself. Then we have we divided the company now into two. We have myself as the group president. Then we have group president oil and gas, and we have the group president other businesses. So and all this one, when you combine, by end of this year, we'll have a group that will have 30 billion of revenue, and that is big.
That is
not
big.
Small. No,
I can't get my head around that number.
Well, it means that we'll be among the top 120 companies in the world.
Congratulations, Aliko. It's
Thank you.
Wonderful. Really
Thank
great
you.
to speak to you.
Well, that's it for this month's Connecting Africa, coming to you from the Dangote Oil Refinery in Nigeria. From me, Eleni Jokas, until next month, let's keep on connecting.